Good morning everyone and welcome back to the channel. As you might gather from the large quantity of rain gear I've got on, it is a very soggy morning here on the Yorkshire coast. I'm back out for the first time in like 3 weeks, and with that you might have guessed the news, the baby is here. So our little one Rowan and mum are both doing very well, which is great news. And because of that I'm able to get back out for the occasional adventure. And so today I'm at Saltwick Bay, one of my favourite places to come hunting because you never know what you might find. And with the weather being a little rubbish compared to the last few weeks on the Yorkshire coast, there might be a chance of finding something quite interesting. I'm hoping for something like a big Phylloceras or maybe a Phylloceras. I've seen quite a few of those coming out recently. The Facebook pages are good to find out what's coming out where, but it does not mean we will find them. As the weather is so rubbish, I will try and film when I can, but no guarantees, because if it's pouring down with rain, my camera gets wet, it makes it very sad. So we'll see what we can do as the rain eases off in between. I'll catch you up with you when I've got something to show off. Just a few nodules to show off. So there's definitely a deck in that one. That looks to be all right. So I'm going to take that nodule as is. It's sufficiently large that there might be more, but I suspect there'll be one big one in there. Who knows, maybe a second in here. We will find out. And then I got two more. I'm going to give these a tap. The problem is with Saltwick nodules, if there's just a dac in them, chances are it's going to explode. They don't tend to preserve very well. But you might get lucky, you might find a zugodactylites, which pop pretty nicely. You might find some lobster bits. And so that's what I'm hoping might be in some of these smaller ones. And I'll keep an eye out as well. Unfortunately, I suspected that beautiful looking nodule did have an ammonite in it, but it's broken really badly when you hit them. That is the luck of the draw with the ammonites. You can take the risk of hitting them on the beach just to check if there's anything in them, but it's Saltwick. If they're not well preserved, that's what they do. Shame. But the little one had nothing in it, so we'll keep looking onwards and upwards. Yeah, unfortunately, another decent nodule, another tap, another exploded deck. It is how it goes. Kind of a shame because the middle of that's actually quite nice, but the rest of it not worth it. So hey ho, that'll stay here if anyone wants it. Yeah, come across a little section that someone's been splitting nodules, possibly a touch too close to the cliff for my liking to be hitting things, but they obviously found this thing, and this would look like a large, probably an Phylloceras, and sadly no middle. A shame because that's quite a rare ammonite, at least for this section of the coast. Okay, I'm going to spot the fossil, not a complete one, so don't expect to be finding perfect ammonites in this image, but there's part of a hildy. That's what I would like, is a nice one of those, please. I've walked this way quite a lot, but I've never seen this hildy before. Quite a different preservation on it. Bit of a shame it's not 3D and better preserved, because that looks like it's quite a nice sort of white shell preservation, but hey ho. Something for you to all have a look for. Did you see it? I don't know how good this one is. I've only seen the keel, and it looks exploded already, but it looks like an alright size hildy. It's a bit of a shame because that would have been a really big one. There you go, that's the size of it, and I would say mouth border would be down the bottom corner here, but I'm actually not convinced that's even all of it. There may well have been a lot more of that. It's been a slow day. I might just put that in the bag just for the sake of it. Bit of a big block for what doesn't look like an awful lot, but there's a shell there, there's a shell here, and what caught my eye was this hildy keel. So there's an unusual hildy to have other things like shells in with it, and I don't know if there's going to be something else in the rest of this block. So I'm having a debate with myself whether to take it as is or to give it a hit, and I know whatever decision I'll make will be the wrong one. So don't know. In a minute it'll stay like that and go in the bag. We will see how heavy that bag gets later. One more. I know it doesn't look like very much and probably isn't going to be very much. It's a dac that runs around, but in section it's quite fat, so I did wonder if it might be something more interesting than just a normal Phylloceras ammonite. It's also got a few little graciles in it as well, just to make it extra interesting on the other side. So I'll take that and just have a play. I don't expect much from it, but yeah. Just coming into what I'm going to consider the final area for me. Tide is still fairly far in, so we will see what we can do safely. But it's always just nice to show off the harpos in the beds There's one here, very eroded, and you can just see part of it. And then there's another one there. Lovely, not collectible, but just nice to see. The weather's just starting to turn, so I don't know how well this will show up, but this nodule I've just popped open, it's a bit of an unusual one. I think it's a coprolite, just based on what's in it. The other option, it might just be a crustacean, but I think it's a coprolite just based on the grey matter all around. And if it is, it's got lots of white bits in it, which is why I said it could be a crustacean. And if those white bits are part of this coprolite, they may well be bone, which would be a very interesting coprolite. But it's a bit tough to tell, so we'll just have to take that back and dry it out and have a look. And one final thing, may not look like much, but this is an Ovitiscerus, or at least partial Ovitiscerus. You can see hopefully the section through the middle there. I gave it a tap because I knew the middle wasn't there, just to see if there's anything else in the second half. But it's just a big chunk of outer whorl. So a bit of a shame, but hey ho. Just working my way back, but thought I'd quickly just show you some of the diversity of things that we see, if not all necessarily great examples. We've got a bit of Phylloceras ammonite, so there's one in here. You can just hopefully see the edge there, and another one there. These will both be staying. This one is a bit unusual. If you're at a place like Ravenscar and you find what looks like a fat dac, it could be a variety of species, but here at Saltwick this will be a Phylloceras. The easy way to tell is if you have a look at this ribbing that goes across what's called the venter or the keel. That is curved. That's the giveaway that it's nothing more exciting, and also the age. And you do get some things, so I was hoping for some Phylloceras, or a whole Phylloceras. This is a partial bit, I haven't split it, but if I did, that's what this little bit of exposed ammonite, you can just see the ribs on it, would be. Would love to say I did something fancy for this one, but I've just picked it up by this. So this is beach prepped as is. It's a Phylloceras, so we can see a nice set of nodes running around the top there, and on both sides. That's come out really well. I'm assuming, based on its current shape, that it's fresh out. It's bounced and popped the sides off as it's come out. Because yeah, I haven't done anything, I just found it just like that on the beach. What a treat. Slowly working my way back, not doing an awful lot of hunting through here. It's been very heavily picked through the summer months and nothing too fresh. Although I will say, in the distance, that you might just see right next to where the sand is, there is a lot of fresh falls. And they are very new, and a large quantity come from quite a long way out. There's a lot of sandstone blocks. So just be very careful if you're out at the minute, especially with all the rain. A lot more is going to come down. That's great for fossiling, but no fossil is worth dying for. So please just be super careful as you fossil hunt over the next few days and going into winter. A bit easier to see now what I was talking about with all of the fresh falls. And you see by how yellow it is that it is fresh out of the cliff, and it's come from right at the top there. So just be very careful. That just is a good reminder of how dangerous it can be out here. All of that came down. If you were close to the cliff, you're not running away from it. So be careful and be safe. Just wrapping it up here from this lovely viewpoint on the way back up. As you can see, the tide is still on its way out, but I have to get back. Unfortunately, though it's my first trip out in quite a while, it is important for me to go back and look after my little one. My wife has done a long shift today on her own, or at least with her family and some friends visiting, but it's not fair to her for her to have to look after him all on her own. But I'm really happy with being able to get out. Got a nice hildy, well, sort of nice hildy. We'll see how the other side cleans up, and a few other bits and pieces which are always nice. And with that, I'm going to make sure that you are all subscribed. Press the subscribe button if you're not, to make sure you catch the next videos as they come out. There's a little bell down there as well, and if you press that, you get notifications as the videos come out. Thanks all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next hunt fairly soon.